This review is made possible by the Restored Rusty Relics Car Club of North New Jersey. If you're in the New Jersey or New York area, please check them out and consider joining the club. They do monthly events, meetings, and have formed a community around these awesome vintage cars. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1996 Ford Bronco Eddie Bauer edition. Up front is a 5.8 liter V8, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Bronco because not only is it an Eddie Bauer edition, and I love Eddie Bauer edition vehicles, but this is by far one of the cleanest, one of the best restored 1996 Ford Broncos I've ever seen. And so to have the privilege today to be driving one is an absolute treat. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 351 Windsor under the hood, better known as the 351 Windsor. I always say displacement in liters just to keep everything even and for comparison's sake here on the channel, but this is a 351 Windsor, and this was used in a lot of other Ford products. It's a very well-known engine. It's a very solid power plant. Is it going to make all of the numbers in the world? No, but that's not what its purpose was. It was meant to be reliable and offer that grunt when grunt was needed. And Ford felt like the Bronco needed it, so they gave it to it. Like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic. It's a little hesitant here and there. It's a little resistant to the shifts, but it's fine here today, and I don't really have any worries about it. Last but not least, about the drivetrain of the Ford Bronco, it is 4-wheel drive. We'll talk about how to select that a little bit later on. So how does it feel to drive a 1996 Ford Bronco Eddie Bauer edition? Well, you are high and mighty, and of course these wheels are aftermarket with aftermarket tires. These are Nitto grapplers, so I can't comment on the specifics of that entirely. However, it drives a lot like the similar era F-150s for quite obvious reason, and I enjoy it. I'm sitting up high. It's really nice to be driving something up higher than a lot of other vehicles in traffic, so that is a big perk in my mind. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me I have a bunch of gauges. Off to the left I have my oil pressure, coolant temperature, battery voltage, and fuel. Then in the center I get my speedometer, and off to the right is my tachometer. The steering wheel has horn buttons as well as cruise control options. Very nice to see that. And this is an airbag year. So starting in the early 90s, they started offering airbags, and that's what's on this Bronco specifically. Off to the left, I have my rear window controls as well as my headlight switches. Love that power rear window. And moving on to the door, we have our power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have an aftermarket radio because any radio from 96 is not going to be able to keep up with modern tech. To the left of the radio, I have my 4-wheel drive and low range button, as well as a vent and rear defrost. So very, very nice there. Then we have our climate controls. Fan speed off to the left, temperature in the center, where to send it off to the right. Very simple, easy, and basic. Down below that, we do have a power point, which is not a lame and boring presentation. It's actually a outlet. It's a 12-volt outlet, more commonly known as a cigarette lighter. And we do have a pull-out ashtray to accompany that, although that has its own cigarette lighter, so you could do dual charging if you want. Then we don't get anything right on the floor, but behind that we do have a giant center console that does have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 1996 Ford Bronco Eddie Bauer edition, and unfortunately it fails to be expected. Now we gotta talk about the seats. The seats are perforated leather, and as you can see, these are part of the Eddie Bauer edition package. So Eddie Bauer is a clothing brand that actually ended up making a deal with Ford in this era to sell these vehicles. You could also later get like a Ford Explorer when they discontinued the Bronco with the Eddie Bauer edition as well. So there were options for that. And basically what it ended up being was like seats and floor mats and badging and some special two-tone colors. That's about it. However, the seats are incredibly comfortable, and you have tons of arm room because the Bronco is pretty wide. Center console is really wide, and so you get tons of room to move around, which is absolutely lovely. However, speaking of seats, even though this is a two-door SUV, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so I'm told with these vehicles, it's better to get in on the passenger side. Oh, that actually goes up pretty far. I wish I had a grab handle somewhere. I do not. About to moon half the neighborhood, but that's okay. All right, getting in. This is why I hate, oh God, this is why I hate two-door SUVs. We're in the back of the Eddie Bauer Bronco. It's actually quite nice back here, and moving this seat back, even in its regular position, I can sit back here just fine. Over, off to the right, and on the left, I have these pull-open cup holders and ashtrays, which is nice. And this whole top does come off. Now, it is November in New Jersey, and it is very chilly, so I will not be taking this top off. But you could remove this back in the day. Well, even still today, if you have the manpower and willpower. But very, very cool to see that stuff. So you could get an open-air experience back here if you wanted to take the top off. Not going to today, but definitely very, very cool. And I do get shoulder belts. So in this era, it was kind of a mixed bag. So very interesting. However, let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. So we're on the back of the 96 Bronco. We do have this spare tire mount, which you can move out of the way. And then once we are back here, it is a normal tailgate and normal trunk. This does fold down, which is very, very cool. So you do kind of get the best of both worlds in terms of a pickup and an SUV. You get that second row of seating, and you can take the top off, use it as a pickup. Tons of different options here in the Bronco, and I've loved that. And I'm glad that they carried that on. Even the 2023 Ford Bronco has that same setup, so very, very cool to see. And as you can see, we are utilizing today the roll-down window because there's not one there. So very, very neat. Now we got to talk about the looks. And this has been restored and it has been painted and fender flares and whatnot, but I think it looks lovely. That is the reason I wanted to review this Bronco so bad, is just because of how it looks. If you're a Ford fan, feast your eyes on this automobile. You will not regret it. It is absolutely lovely, especially filming it here today in the woods. I think it really fits that outdoorsy feel that Eddie Bauer is known for. And just what a cherry mint truck to be driving today. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this particular 1996 Ford Bronco? We got to get it out of the way. It's just such a wonderful, clean, beautiful example that you don't see much of anymore. The Bronco was never a showroom car. And what I mean by that is people would buy these and then they drive them and use them and take them on camping trips and take them on vacation, drive them in the rain, salt, snow. So no one ever really thought to save any of these. No one ever said, hey, we should take a Bronco and put it in a museum, except for that one white one from California. And so finding these clean and restored properly is kind of rare. And so that is a huge thing, but also just driving the Bronco as a whole. I love how unapologetically SUV this vehicle is. I've driven modern Broncos, and the new Bronco is good. It's very off-road oriented, but it does have a screen in it. It has adaptive cruise. It has all of these niceties. Because they kind of have to do both things. They kind of have to be these adventurous vehicles, but people also own them as their only cars. They're so expensive. They have to have these comforts. Well, that kind of started with this generation of the Bronco, and especially the Eddie Bauer, because Broncos in the past were recreational vehicles that were built for a single purpose, going off-road, and that's it. But then Ford paired up with Eddie Bauer, as they've done with tons of other fashion icons in the past, and they said, hey, let's make a Bronco that's comfortable. Let's make a Bronco that's a little bit more upscale. Let's make a Bronco that maybe you would want to be seen on a red carpet in, that doesn't smell like a gym bag. And so they created this. Yeah, underneath the skin and Away from the seats, this is your regular Ford Bronco. But it opened up a door that it still hasn't been closed even here today, and one would argue that that door is cracked even way wider open than it was back in 1996. So yeah, the Lincoln Navigator really started the luxury SUV market, and the Cadillac Escalade was right there too. But this is one of the earlier ones to do something of that sort. Maybe not fully, maybe this isn't a luxury SUV, but it was most certainly on its way. And it's cool to be driving something at the forefront of our modern vehicle market. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Phil for letting me take out his Ford Bronco. What an amazing condition vehicle. I was so excited when he offered it up to me, and just what a absolute peach. Phil has been wonderful to work with, and I appreciate Steve coming out with him. They are two of the absolute best. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.